Alrighty, it's 4 o'clock here, so I'll call the Davenport Housing Commission meeting together for Monday, September 18th at 4 p.m. First, we'll do a roll call here. Joyce Miller.
Here.
Gary Susich. Here. And myself, Matt Wissing, I'm here. So we have 3, so we have a quorum. Our first item here are approval of, or a look at the consideration, I should say, of the August meeting minutes. And I'll ask if anyone has any questions or corrections. And if not, if someone would be so kind as to make a motion to approve those.
I make a motion that we approve the last month's minutes.
Second.
You guys are going to have to do all the work today.
Maybe
Unless, I didn't know if there might be a third. Great. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for the August, that's the second time I did that, August meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, those pass. So next are the financial reports for the month of August. And again, ask if there's any questions or corrections here. See anything in there, Joyce?
Yeah, just a little something here in regards for I'm talking about the housing choice voucher budget one for the telephone. We're up to 93% already on that?
Can you hear me? Let me review that, Commissioner.
Okay.
Okay, I'll review that percentage and make sure that that's accurate, and then I'll get back with you on that.
All right.
If there's no other questions or corrections, then again, I'll ask for a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to approve the financials for August.
Second.
Fine, it's been moved and seconded to approve the financial reports for the month of August. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, those pass. So next is the occupancy report. Looks like we're growing, so you're getting some more people in, so that's always a positive trend, I'd say. Anybody else have anything there? If not, I'll ask for a motion to pass the occupancy report.
I make a motion to approve the occupancy report for August.
Second.
Thanks. It's been moved and seconded to approve the occupancy report for August. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those pass. So number 4 here is our resolution about this closeout of public housing. And I guess, Millie, I'd ask you to just explain this, since none of us have been through this before, here. Is this a common thing and that HUD needs, or either one, either Millie or Bruce?
In my years, we haven't done it either. So yeah,
Yes,
this
we've
is,
never closed out.
so to clarify, this is the former public housing units that the city owns, so the 42 scattered site units around town. As you know, we went through several steps over the last 2 or 3 years. They've been sold. They're no longer used as public housing. HUD has a process that staff goes through to sort of decertify them as public housing. And the final step in it is to send this resolution closing out those 42 units as public housing along. So that's really all this is kind of the final step. I think we had some questions a few months ago just to make sure that we'd drawn down all the funds that we might have and that we had been repaid for anything that we might still have. And we've gone through that with our accounting. And as you see from the little financial report, there's not much there here over the last several months. So
Right.
we feel comfortable in advancing this forward, and it'll probably take a few months for HUD to review too. But that's all it is. And Malia can probably answer more detail if you need it.
No, I was just getting a background, and since I don't get a vote on it, I was just going to give my opinion, and which I did at city council meetings a couple of years ago, and more recently. I didn't agree with the city getting rid of public housing, because I think that's a necessary goal of government. But that was a decision that was made, and I spoke at that. But that didn't happen. So anyway, I don't have any other questions on this. I don't know if Gary or Joyce do. Bruce, I guess just as an aside, do you know him? Oh, there's Yolanda, I think. I don't
If you expect more, I think you could leave it open.
know. Is that a packet for you? Yeah, we're up to hasn't taken too long to do the other bit. We're up to the resolution that's on the last page there on the closeout of public housing, so.
Apologize for my tardiness, traffic and.
Those things happen. So if nobody has any, did you get a chance to read that on?
I did.
Yolanda? Okay.
I didn't have any questions.
Well, if not, if nobody has any other comments on that, I'll ask for a motion to approve this resolution. Does that need to be all read through? I mean, out loud, or? I'll just say Resolution 2024-03, resolution supporting the closeout of public housing. That was the part I didn't like, that word, supporting, but that was just my personal.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution supporting the closeout of public housing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve this resolution. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Now I understand we may have, well, I know of one, because he approached me, and anyone else, if there's any public who'd like to address this, make comments, I'll just ask you to go to the podium there, because we are televised. Some people watch these things. Oh, wait, yeah, why don't you just walk up? Yeah, there's not a line. Go right up there, Ezra, I'm sorry.
to do on Wednesday.
Yeah, follow the rules. I don't think you're back at the line.
Yeah.
Yes, no, you're fine.
I brought handouts
And
too, so.
okay.
This is not just the first 2 pages.
Wow.
I'm not giving you the entire HUD inspection manual, just the first.
Thank you.
A lot of stuff. First of all, thank you so much for letting me talk. Somebody sent me a video of last month's meeting, and I was kidding with Matt. You guys could have been playing ping pong in here. It was pretty dead. At last month's Housing Commission meeting, Chairman Wissing said, quote, "I've just been hearing on the news and public forums that there are different people doing different inspections, and our Section 8 folks don't always know about other parts of the city, specifically Public Works and Neighborhood Services. They were submitting 2 different things, and we at Section 8 weren't aware of other inspections being done. I don't know if that's true, if that's rumor, or how much of that is conjecture." Close quote. City staff replied that HUD inspections were only cursory and didn't include things like exterior walls and foundations. According to the HUD manual, that's not correct. So the first document in the packet that I've given you, and I apologize for all this. The first 2 pages are from the HUD manual. The HUD Housing Inspection Manual for Section 8 Existing Housing Programs. This covers 324 Main Street. It states on page 7, and it's been highlighted, that it is the responsibility of the PHA, that's the Public Housing Authority, that's this commission, to, quote, "ensure that all units in the Section 8 Existing Housing Assistance Program at a minimum meet the housing quality standards, and furthermore, quote, make complaint inspections in response to tenant requests and take action against the owner if compliance is not obtained." These are the commission's legal responsibilities. The second document that you'll see in your packet, this one, was obtained by the Freedom of Information Act. This document from Neighborhood Services Code Enforcement Officer Tony Haught states that as of August 2nd, 2021, by order of Rich Oswald, head of Neighborhood Services, there will be no re-inspections at 324 Main Street. On that date, there were 74 open violations. They were never corrected, and they were never re-inspected. We move on to the third the third group of documents. The remaining documents concentrate on units number 312, 209, 501, 510, and 517 at 324 Main Street, because HUD Section 8 and Veterans Administration supplemental housing recipients were placed in those units by this commission. This cover sheet for each unit describes the deficiencies, including failed rental and fire inspections, notices to vacate the entire building, and a statement from the Davenport Fire Marshal stating the entire building was a fire hazard and must be vacated. These were all ignored. These documents are all in here. As you flip through them, you will be horrified. Here's final official notice. There's just a second final. Here's another official notice in order. And this for every one of those units. The next document is the HUD inspection report for each unit. These are the HUD inspection reports. And there's one for each unit. Please note they are almost identical with everything checked off as passed, including mobile home tie-downs. I hope you can see that. I've highlighted it in yellow. 324 Main Street passed its mobile home inspection. Every one of these HUD inspections is contradicted by the dozens of documents that you have before you now. Next, I would like to call your attention to the statement in the HUD inspection manual specifying the responsibilities for this commission. They include, quote, make complaint inspections in response to tenant request, close quote. Back in January of this year, Humility Homes Executive Director Ashley Velez wrote in an email to the Third Ward Alderman, quote, at least 6 clients of Humility Homes who lived at the Davenport, which is 324 Main Street, didn't have consistent heat for weeks. I'm sure this commission never knew about this. This problem was never fixed. And through documents obtained via the Freedom of Information Act, we learned that the complaints about not having heat at 324 Main Street in the middle of a Midwestern winter never stopped. January 30th, complaint, no heat since October. January 31st, complaint, no heat. February 7th, complaint, no heat. February 10th, complaint, no heat. February 14th, complaint, no heat. February 27th, complaint, no heat. March 14th, complaint, no heat. March 14th, this is from a report made by Davenport Fire Department Captain Terrell, quote, the boiler was making some loud noises that did not seem to be normal, and the alarms were sounding on the boiler panel, close quote. March 15th, complaint, no heat. March 28th, complaint, no heat. April 4th, complaint, no heat. April 26th, complaint, no heat. May 8th, complaint, no heat. May 15th, complaint, no heat. The lack of heat wasn't the only problem at 324 Main Street. While this was going on, there were 48 complaints, including no hot water, bricks falling. It was an unsafe fire hazard, and water was pouring down through leaking ceilings. On May 24th, 2022, a year before the building collapsed, 324 Main Street was officially declared, quote, a nuisance property by the city of Davenport. It was unsafe for human occupancy. According to HUD regulations, this commission should never have placed any HUD or VASH recipients at 324 Main Street. 324 Main Street could never have passed a real HUD inspection. I have absolutely no doubt that this commission was kept in the dark by city staff. The question remains now, what are you going to do about it? I'm here to answer questions. I'm sure you have plenty. Thank you.
A lot of reading here, so.
If you just go through these documents, it just spells everything out. There's just no wiggle room.
Is there anyone else from the public who came to speak today? If not, do we have anything on the,
Because we've got, this Thursday, there's a meeting, I asked somebody upstairs on the Foster Youth Independence Program with HUD. That'll be from 12:30 to 3:30.
Actually, that's a HCV briefing. We'll be discussing FYI, but that's more of an internal briefing for participants from the wait list.
Okay.
okay, did we have any additional things to add on today? I know last month we had that.
We are looking at special topics, and we would like to present about the HUD Bash program when Kelly Holman is available. She was not in the office today, but we would like to present to the Housing Commission HUD Bash and how that program works in our office.
I think that was mentioned last month that we may
Correct,
have
yes.
that in
And
the-
yes, we're still looking forward to presenting that information to the Housing Commission next month.
Okay. Does anyone else, any of the other commissioners have anything? If not, I haven't looked at the calendar yet for,
So you're not, nobody has any questions?
good, yeah, if you have some, you want to go ahead. I just haven't had a chance to digest this stuff.
I don't have any questions at this exact moment. This is a lot of information to digest.
Right. And if you remember, I asked some kind of a couple general questions last month, just to get refreshed on how the process worked, because something we don't talk about too often. Maybe we should.
Well, it's not only that, but I just didn't know the extent of this. It's never brought to our attention. Well, the question is, so what are we going to do about it? That's your question?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Too much rock and roll.
So basically, your question is, what is the commission going to do about
What
it?
is the commission going to do about it? I have to be candid with you. I never came to one of these meetings before. I don't think anyone ever did. I never came to a city council meeting before 324 Main Street. I'm just an old retired professor from the University of Iowa. And 324 Main Street happened on my wife's and my anniversary. We were having a party at our house, and we started hearing squad cars and ambulances. The next day, I came down to 324 Main, and I saw hundreds of people protesting. And why are they protesting? And the more I learned, the more horrified I became. So I just started doing FOIA requests, and I just became more and more and more horrified. And I know Matt, kinda. He wouldn't have done this intentionally. I don't think anybody up here would have done this intentionally. I don't think you guys knew. I think that there's this wall between community and economic development and neighborhood housing, or whatever it's called. And those two don't talk to each other. And then I don't know what the dysfunction is over at Public Works. I don't know why they didn't close down 324 Main. You go through this and you see over and over, final must, the fire marshal. I mean, who gets to ignore the fire marshal? They ignore the fire marshal. But then the horrifying thing is these HUD reports just keep on, they're just all checked off. They weren't real inspections, I know that. They couldn't have passed real inspections. There's photographs in here and they're horrifying. And I have to tell you, in all candor, I contacted HUD in Des Moines, and I sent the same information that you have to them. And they said, this is too big, this has got to go up to regional. And they sent it to the regional office, which is in Kansas City. And then I was contacted by HUD and regional in Kansas City. And they said, this is too big, we're kicking this up to the Inspector General. So just so you know, everything that you have is also with the Inspector General at HUD, with the regional office in Kansas City, with the Iowa office in Des Moines, and they're not happy.
I'm not happy.
Good. I'm so happy because just to hear that, I have been bashing my head against the wall here. You know, the mayor doesn't care. The aldermen don't care.
I wouldn't say that.
I-
I don't think people don't care. Who wouldn't care about the loss?
You're right, you're right, you're right. But you're the first person that said, I'm not happy about this, and that you want to do something about it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I can, I know about these documents. I never wanted to learn about these documents. I'm a computer science professor. I don't want to know about inspections and complaints and HUD and VASH. I didn't even know what those things were. But it's just cut and dried. I don't know why community economic development kept you in the dark. I have no idea. I don't know. That's a question for them.
Yeah, I have questions, but
Yeah.
my lack of questions right now is not because I don't care. It's just, it's a lot of information and I have to process it all because I didn't know any of this. And so, I personally am not going to take this lightly. And I can assure from my standpoint, I'm going to try to do everything in my power to make sure this commission is not kept in the dark going forward. That's not going to help the past. But however that looks like, it's not going to look like this. So I don't have answers for you from my standpoint, but I will have an answer for you from my standpoint.
Thank you.
I'm also appalled. And I used to be on the streets. I know, and I still deal with people who are on the streets. And a lot of people were in this building. It's, this city should be ashamed. I am ashamed. Because I'm looking at it from their perspective. Like I said, I used to be on the streets, I was homeless too. And this is something that must be, and will be, I believe, corrected as soon as possible. And I thank you for your time and your efforts, sir.
Is this mine to keep? Is this mine to keep?
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I know
I keep
got
tired. Is this mine to keep?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Maybe that's why he doesn't. I'm just teasing.
I'm making so many copies, I'm gonna just start having these leather bound at the finish now.
And I would like to apologize for anyone that feels like they have not been heard. I hear you.
Yeah. You
Can
know,
I just say that that's the most refreshing thing to hear?
We've gotten
We've
nowhere.
been here every week since the first Wednesday. It's just nice to finally hear somebody actually acknowledge that there was wrongdoing and that it shouldn't have been done that way. I worked in the, my name's Jessica, and I worked in the community. Yeah, stand up.
Oh, God, we were ready to go.
My name's Jessica Knowles, and I've worked in the community for the last 15 years, just doing kind of give backs and things like that in the community. In the last 10 years, I started working with the homeless. I used to work with Pastor Larry Thomas that did the Christians Who Cares Hot Breakfast. And one of Daniel Prian, one of the guys that did die in the building collapse, came through the breakfast, and his obituary said it very well. He was kind-hearted, sweeted, and had that kind of gypsy soul of just being a sweetheart. He would give you a shirt off his back. And at first, I didn't know that he had died until obviously they announced it. But to know that he was placed there in March, and not just a few months later, he was trying to establish residency and a normal life for the first time in his life. From what I've heard from friends and family of Ryan Hitchcock, same. I mean, Brandon Coven, he moved in at the beginning of April to just die 2 months later because of neglect, straight neglect. And this is probably the most positive interaction I have had with anybody sitting up there since, thanks,
And I'm sorry,
since the building collapsed. And it's just really nice to hear acknowledgement that there was wrongdoing and that we're just not crazy. We're here every week. I think only a few of us have missed 1 or 2 weeks. And if we're not here, wherever we're at, we're watching. So we're still involved. And to actually hear that's a bit of relief for not only I, but for Katie, LaShonda, LaConda, and several others that could not make it tonight. Because they just moved too quickly, for one. And like I said, we really appreciate the acknowledgement of the wrongdoing.
You know, firsthand, I've seen. I was a friend of Brandon's, their family of Brandon's. I have friends that live there, and I witnessed their apartments, always water dripping out of their ceilings. Couldn't keep the tile up above the thing because the water's just dripping. There's pictures of the, on the top where the water thing is and all that, the air conditioner and all that. It looks so nasty. A bulging, they had to call 911 before the event about a bulging, the wall bulging. And they did like a 4-minute pass and then said that nothing was wrong. I just, you know, year after year, I don't know how you can just turn a blind eye to a building. I don't know if it's money. It is money. There's no way around it. And all we're just wanting is accountability. What, you know, all the way from the landlord, all the way to whoever had their, you know, city administrator to the third ward.
Whoever had their hand in the cookie.
You know, it's just, you know, I mean, we have the aldermen putting on their pages how their job's not fun anymore. We're not making their job fun. Well, do you think it was fun for them to live like that for years? Do you think it was fun for them to have a part of their building, to lose all their property, their family heirlooms? People lost ashes, weren't even able to get their family ashes. And then 3 people suffered for days, still alive, that they wouldn't go looking after. Somebody lost their leg. Do you think that they have fun with all this? Or they're still, the people that are alive, having to redo? But he's worried about having fun at the job, a job that he's paid for to live comfortably. So I seen it firsthand with the water dripping and black mold, and I don't know how anybody could be okay with people living like that. Black mold kills people, and people have lifelong illnesses because of that. You know, they shouldn't have to take care of that. That's the landlord's job. You know, if any of the city council or anybody, or even if I had black mold in my house, I deal with it. So I don't know. I appreciate
you coming here and voicing your concerns, which are very valid, and continuing to come here every Wednesday.
You know, I mean, we'll never stop coming, but it takes so much emotion and physicality out of us, because we come up here and talk, and, you know, either they're just, you know, staring at us, or they're staring down at their phones, or they're, you know, smirking. You know, one doesn't even show up anymore. mean, you got a couple that have compassion and they've tried. One was just removed because of that, and 2 others are trying to, but they it's just, it's like we're fighting up against money basically, and, we'll continue to do so. But it takes a toll, and then having to see things on their page or, with what they say up here or to the news of what they say about us and trying to paint us as the bad people, but they don't have a voice anymore. Somebody has to speak for them. A lot of these people can't be here. Peaches is still in, Chicago fighting for her life, the healing process, the things that come with, losing a leg. And then you got all these people that are trying to, start over again. They can't be down here to voice their concerns. So who does it for them? We do. This isn't fun. We're not paid. We're not paid to come down here every week. Sometimes we're here 2 to 3 times a week. Last week we were here for 2 weeks because they had that special meeting with Cornette. 2 days in a row. And then this week we're here for this, which this is a breath of fresh air because for once we feel like we're being listened to and we're not being badgered to say we're going to be kicked out or trespassed or, insulted up there as like we were this past week. It's just it's a breath of relief that somebody's listening to us because minus the 2 that are, but again, how can 2 people out of a whole thing and people over here like the city administrator, they have way more power than what they should have. So that's all. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm not gonna hold you up for long. I don't have to announce myself, do I? My name is LaConna Dixon. It's okay. I'm 5th Ward Alderman. That's how I'm so used to doing this. I just want to say thank you. For the last 3, almost 4 months, we've been coming down here every week, talking to our aldermen, talking to the mayor, for us to have blank stares and no answers. We found out more from the newspapers than we've heard from like the mayor's mouth or from alderman's mouth, because there's like some of us who are dedicated to this, all we wanted was answers. And we've been threatened. We've had the live stream cut off. We've had for us saying, them saying that we were being discriminatory towards them, us saying not true things because they didn't like what we're saying, basically. And so I want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Mr. Gary, thank you. I didn't know anything about you till today, and I came in here and I heard you 1 sentence, and that made it enough. Ms. Yolanda, thank you for your understanding. That's enough. Going forward, it looks like we're going to be adding 1 more meeting on. Now we can make sure we're here. Now we can see what's going on. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and sorry we had to meet on these terms.
I just want to add 1 more thing. Thank you. My name's LaShawna Dixon. This whole situation, something that I never thought I would see in all my life. And it's ever going to be with me. It's going to be with me forever. If y'all can please, please, please make sure nothing like this ever happens to us again, not in this city. Because I'm not traumatized, but those beeps will never go out of my ears. My family hurting will never go away. Me waiting for Lisa Brooks to come out will never go away. But never in the small town I would ever think I would see anything like that. So if y'all can please ensure, well, I know you can't make sure, but try to make sure this never happens again to us. And thank you for your transparency today. Thank you for your caring today, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And, there's Dennis.
Oh, there's Dennis.
Just one real quick thing, a thought I want to leave you with. My name's Dennis Platt, and I'm a community volunteer. I know Gary, and I've dealt with a lot of the people that have been involved in this for years. And I don't want you to feel like you missed it, that it's done and you can't do anything in the future. You've still got, all you have to do is look at your occupancy and utilization report, and you've still got a lot of responsibility for people that are still using housing under your authority. And I'm here to tell you, there are problems out there today in those buildings. You've got elevators that aren't functioning right. They don't have inspection certificates posted properly, and the ones that you can't see are a couple years old. You've got HVAC problems in the summer, in the winter, in the spring, in the fall. Several of these owners refuse to contract for emergency services and tell the tenants that they've called for the service guy, and 2 weeks later, they still haven't turned up. Under a HUD contract, they need to have emergency services that come same day. It's not an economic question of I can't afford to pay overtime because we've got an incident here. They need to have service right away, and it's not happening. And if one thing you could consider is reconciling neighborhood services inspections against HUD inspections, and understand flat out that the deficits, the deficiencies reported by neighborhood services are always several weeks or months behind what's actually happening on the ground, because they can't get inspectors out there on time for everything that's going on. And so you've got moving targets, and you've got lots of them, and they're all needing attention, and you can just be a tremendous help to the community by circling this and tightening it up. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? If not, looks like October 16th is the third Monday. You're usually good at that, Yolanda. Double checking me, but I think that's right. Okay, if not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Before we adjourn, does anybody else have anything they want to say?
Yeah, I was hoping I was being, asking that of the entire room. It's usually pretty quiet up here. Yeah.
Even though it's not a happy situation, but